morning, good evening, everyone. This is Luda Kopikina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate news essential, important, or optional. If you want to follow along, look at gai.com/articles and tell us what you think as we proceed. Today, I have John, Ankaj, a wonderful guest, Karen Pispisa, who has the wisdom in prompting, deep wisdom in prompting, ex-Google and contract with Meta. So lots of experiences. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Luda.
And Paul is joining us from Davos. Hi, Paul. All right, let's start with the first article, Ankaj.
Thanks, Luda. So the first one that we have for today comes from Anthropic, and it's about Claude's new constitution.
Yes, this is very interesting, a long document in detail stating what Claude is or shouldn't do. John, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I had this one as essential. Anthropic here, I think, is leading the way in terms of their notion of constitutional AI. And what I liked about it is that the Constitution itself is long and it's written primarily for the model. So it's written for a machine to read. And it talks about more background concepts like ethics and values and how those get reflected, and tries to get the model to incorporate those. And I think that's a smart move because every algorithm, whether or not people understand or acknowledge it, is that it has a built-in ethics or morality because it's optimizing something. And so to actually lay out the ethics and deal with the metacognition necessary to do the right thing in the context of conflicting algorithms, I think is really important. Also, they've done it under the most open of the Creative Commons licenses, which is you can use their constitution in entirety without any attribution or anything. You can do, if you want to commercialize it or whatever. So you really want this to be something that the AI community embraces. And I think, given the fact that we cannot control the exact outcome of these models, and they note in their document about it that what we're doing now is that we're teaching at the task level or the action level, through human in the loop reinforcement learning, which is a lot of where the morals and ethics and safety get reflected. But this is a deeper concept that's trying to teach essentially for unanticipated situations and influence the model that way. So I rate it as essential.
Okay. Karen, what did you think?
I agree with John that it is essential. And the reason is this is Anthropic putting another stake in the ground on safety and agency over its model Claude and its suite of models. And it's important because the industry is really tumbling fast toward AGI and what that may or may not look like in the future. I know it's a big topic at the World Economic Forum, which John is attending. Which Paul is attending right now in Switzerland. And so, as we look at that future, this is kind of a judgment map, a values map of where this company thinks AI should behave, operate, and perform. And so for that reason, I think it's essential.
Okay. Ankaj?
I think it's an essential read, Luda. I agree with John's point of view here. This document, while Anthropic has released it officially now, I think it was leaked 2 months back by a programmer or a prompt engineer, and they call it Claude's soul document. So that's really interesting phrasing from Anthropic, which they use internally. And I think this is a very sort of differentiated piece right now for Anthropic, with XAI dealing with ethical issues on the image generation side, OpenAI dealing with performance issues on coding and broadly as well, and Gemini not being able to come out of the Nano Banana VO3 and Notebook LM sort of capabilities. This strongly places Anthropic as a number one choice for enterprises looking to adopt something which has all its constitution out there in the public. So essentially for that reason as well.
Yeah, leading the field, Anthropic does. Yes, so going essential, Paul.
Yeah, I agree with everything said here. I think another reason for essential is that, we've been having, at least I've been having a conversation with others in the last 4 or 5 months, is what is the SLA that companies want to have for their supply of intelligence? And because that intelligence has this probabilistic thing in here, part of that SLA is it needs to be in what are the core aspects of it. And I think we continue to see, as these two companies battle out for the IPO this year, strong differentiation both in marketing and in policy from Anthropic around the enterprise. And I think enterprises are going to appreciate that adult in the room and the less chaotic shoot from the hips and wide roadmap that you see in OpenAI. So definitely essential.
Yeah, very well structured. And it seems like every section has a lot of thought that went into it. John is right. It's written for the model consumption, but as a result, it's actually pretty detailed. Yeah. So, okay, essential it is.
One last thing. I just want to, let's not forget that this is policies. Remember, Google started do no evil, and that's been dropped, and now they've done for a bunch of CIA things. So I think this will be really interesting to watch how much the Anthropic employees hold Anthropic to this as we will go forward here next few years.
Yeah, that's a good point, Paul. All right, let's mark it as essential. Let's proceed, Ankash, please.
Okay, the next one comes from Google, and it is about Al Jazeera Media Network launching the Core, which is an AI integrated news model built on Google Cloud.
Yeah, so this is an independent media network that decided to put the whole focus on building this core platform. Ankash, what did you think about this one?
Luda, I was between optional and important for this one. Optional because it doesn't lay out if they have achieved something with it or how they are doing with it. Important because this provides a sort of systematic thing that they have built, right? What they are calling core. So they have multiple pillars within that. AJ Now, which is a central news platform. Then AJ LLM, which is all their archives or a large language model trained on all their archives. Then AJ Vision, so which they are using to develop immersive content. So the entire vision of theirs, having these 6 pillars, getting a proper system in place, that's really interesting. I think organizations should learn from this, that okay, you can go about doing it in a systematic way, not just doing experiments here and there. So for that reason, I was important, but still confused because it lacks what they have done till now in this. It's more of a press release.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it is a press release. Karen, what did you think?
I think the takeaway here is how Al Jazeera has positioned and used AI as infrastructure, not just a tool. And so this is getting into agentic, more than automation, but agents working across a business workflow. So they are redesigning their workflow in their newsroom around AI agents. And I think that's the key takeaway. So I do believe this is important, although to Ankash's point, they don't have results yet in this particular press release.
Okay, John, what was your thought?
I was between important and essential in this. If it was such a thin article and just a press release, I would do it essential. And the reason is at least twofold. One is that this thinking about where news and information and distillation of opinion is going, it's going to be automated. And for Al Jazeera, which is a legit global news organization, it doesn't get through the American distribution channels much, but globally it's a very influential network. And the idea that they could now put policy reporting format, like how it comes out, so forth, at the core, I think it's going to be a fundamental transformation. Back to our Wins article, in terms of the news businesses in the crucible, and this is the first organization I've seen that is completely reinventing that. So I think that's huge. The second thing is that interesting is that as I think we're going to a multipolar world, what counts as quote unquote truth is going to be up for grabs around the world. And I think those who have powerful AI engines at the core, given the decentralization and consumption of media and what we think of as facts, whoever has the best and most facile engines, AI engines at the core, are going to win the battle for what is going to be, I think, a very fragmented notion of what truth is. And so I think this is going to be fundamental for policy and business and things like that. But it's early days and a thin article, so I would just give it an importance.
I see. Yeah, I was actually on the optional side listening to you all. I am moving to important. Paul, what did you think?
It's a really important topic, but this is optional. They're announcing they did a deal with Google Cloud, and they have some ideas on a whiteboard in a room that might make a lot of sense or may not get executed. So a really important category, but this particular article is optional.
Yeah, we will be talking about process, looking at processes, re-engineering them, streamlining them, and then automating or putting them into AI, agentic AI a little bit later. So maybe that one should be important. This one, okay, we'll mark this optional. I'm with Paul. Sorry, everyone. Let's proceed.
Yeah, the next one comes from Boston Consulting Group, and it is titled Scaling AI Requires New Processes, Not Just New Tools.
Yeah, that's the one. Karen, what were you thinking about this one?
I think the last article about Al Jazeera is a perfect segue into this piece. And this, I'm going to come out and turn our format upside down and rate it as essential. And here's why. The BCG group has come out with a framework for how to think about AI agents in production in a real business. And that's important because what they're not advocating is sprinkling AI or AI agents into old processes. They're advocating a framework for redesigning the process around AI agents. Their case in point is an industrial manufacturing company that rebuilt their quote to order process, but the results are actually very impressive. They did tens of millions in new revenue. They did 70% of RFQs are handled now with zero human involvement, and they decreased their labor costs by 30 to 40%, which is a very terrifying number for most people, everyone in this economy. Like, what do those people do without work? So that notwithstanding, I think that the results of the ROI generated by 4 individual agents re-architecting their request for quote process at this manufacturing firm really can't be ignored. So if Ankaj later puts up the graphic that BCG did, which is great, about how to walk through, thank you, Ankaj, how to walk through this process. And the key thing that I think is really instructive is that this gives you questions to ask yourself about your own business. And that's a really foundational process to go through to really look at your own workflow process, business processes, individually or in concert, as we think about agents taking over some of that workload, and then teams of AI agents working together, orchestrating with other teams of AI agents in a company. So I'll stop there, but I do think this is an essential read because it gives us that mental map and shows us that specific things to go through and walk through about your own business.
Thank you, Karen. John, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with Karen. I think she put it very well in terms of the case study, the importance, what it takes, and also the only thing I would add is they have a very interesting heuristic rule of thumb at the end where they say you should take 10% of your budget on data, 20% of your budget on algorithms, and 70% of your budget on capability building. So essential.
Capability building, meaning people, engaging people, working with people.
The organization. I think it's bigger. People, I think it's, I wasn't going to nitpick. I think talking about it as organizational transformation and change is the wrong way to think about it. Because I don't think that's what this is about. I think it's deeper than that, which is you're teaching the organization how to operate completely differently. This is a revolution in management process. This is a revolution in production. If I were back in Merrimack, Massachusetts, where they built the Boston company, the first U.S. at scale, industrial company. When they went from using the water wheel of the Merrimack River to electric motors, that wasn't just an organizational change issue. You had to redo the organization and redo how you did weaving and redo how you even laid out the factory and everything. So it's a whole new capability. It's not just an org change process in my mind.
Yeah, I actually agree. I lived through in the 90s, there was a wave of process reengineering. So I was very deeply at GE when we did that. It's just from that, when you look at each process, we had this process coined order to remittance and new product introduction, two paths. Order to remittance delivered incredible results when looked through the new lens. So this is essentially process reengineering combined with agentic AI together, creating an impact. So this is certainly impactful, and they, in a simple way, they laid it out well. What did you think, Paul?
Yeah, I would support essential. I was at important, but I don't have super strong feelings of it. I mean, I do agree with all the comments. It is there's notions of the article John and others wrote on design with dialogue, where you got to break that down to subtasks. Each of the subtasks decide if it's a robots or AI lead. I do agree with John. I really like the stake in the cloud about the percent budget allocation, because I think that's a critical, useful heuristic for folks. So I support essential.
Okay, Ankash, we're going essential.
Essential it is, Luda.
Okay, essential it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Okay, the next one is titled The Mythology of Conscious AI.
Oh, just along John's.
A beautiful article, well written, well argued, really deals with some incredibly important issues around consciousness and thinking, and but completely optional for our AI leader.
I came out the same way. It's like some of the arguments are really well developed, and he cites the sources, talks about them, argues back and forth. It's really well articulated. Karen, what did you think? But optional.
Definitely optional. I appreciate that people anthropomorphize AI and assign human traits to these computing systems. And so this article really digs at what's behind that psychology, that sociology, and that philosophy. So it's definitely optional. I wouldn't call it a beach read, but I would say it's a really good in-depth philosophical piece, which is important as we look toward AGI.
Yeah.
Depends on what you like to do on the beach.
I would recommend people reading it, because it actually lays it out so well. It's just for the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my experience over the years is that there's a subset of executives, maybe 10 to at the most 20%, who are really interested in the practical stuff for their business in the medium and longer term, but then they also have an intellectual bent. And for that 10 or 20% of executives who have an intellectual bent, this is an essential read, right? But I don't think that's the core of our audience for the show. And so, I don't know, maybe we give it an important, it's the thing that's nice is it's high quality, it's well reasoned. It's not work slop. It's not stupid reaffirmation of, the obvious, like, oh my God, it's about the people, not the technology. I just want to throw up when I hear that. And that's not what this is about, right? This is really a thoughtful article about why it matters to make distinction between life and consciousness and thinking and our design and what our expectations are and how we control it. So anyway, I don't want to go on longer about it because it's optional, but it's really a beautiful article.
It is a beautiful argument. Ankash?
Optional, Luda.
Paul, triple optional.
Yeah, triple optional, and not because it's not an interesting article. I mean, here at Davos, it's been so reinforced. This stuff is moving so fast. AI leaders in their day job, they really got to stay focused on understanding how to drive value in this fast-moving market for their company. And because it's moving so fast, every minute you're spending on something else has real opportunity cost there. So spending an hour reading this article and debating about the job impact and debating about, is AI going to kill us all, is an hour you're not spending on thinking about how to redefine your business for competitive advantage. So triple optional.
Okay. Optional it is. Let's proceed to the next one, Ankash, please.
Okay, the next one comes from A16Z, and it is titled, "It's Time for Agentic Video Editing."
Yes. So the article essentially says, look, in 2025, there were lots of advancement in video technology, editing, almost real-time videos, but it produces a mass of this video streams that now can be edited and used in marketing efforts of companies. And it lists a number of companies, many in their portfolio. And it's an interesting read, but I rated it optional because I think the folks who are really using video critically probably are ahead of it. So it's not a very useful article, I thought. So optional for me. Ankash, what did you think?
I was important on this one, Luda. I think I mentioned this a few days back that this will be the year of agentic video editing, or using agentic processes to improve videos further. And this sort of reiterates that. And I agree with the basic premise here that all these tools that are now coming out, they really help get these videos. First, longer videos we can create with these set of tools. Second, we can do more of focused editing with these tools, right? If we want to remove something, if we want to put some audio in, so they help with that as well. So what this article doesn't mention is that we can use videos or these tools now to create videos which will be useful for organizations. It fails to mention that. But I think the author wants to highlight that okay, we have now a set of tools which can create videos which are longer in nature, which are useful for organizations, and which will help monetize these video models as well. So from that perspective, I was important to that.
Okay. John, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was optional. I agree with Ankash. For me, we've covered it a lot. I would be okay with important, but 26 is definitely the year of video.
Yeah, no, it will certainly happen. It will advance this year. Karen?
I'd like to go important with this one. And the reason is it's important for any marketing and sales leader to see, because as advertising moves toward short form video en masse, this technology is really interesting because it can call other video tools. So this set of video editing capabilities gets smarter and smarter. And the AIs can actually determine what's the best footage. Where do we need to fill in AI generated footage? What's B-roll, what's A-roll? And, it's really kind of very interesting to have that post-production all handled without human involvement, and then be able to cut that into all different formats and aspect ratios for different social plays and platforms. So for that, I thought it was important.
Yeah, I didn't know that you can feed a video and it will take and pauses out, and you can tell it what other things to adjust, and it will do the whole video. So that was very stunning to read about. A specific tool for that purpose. Okay, Paul.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I think. Well, let me be more clear. One, I think now we are in, as John says, a post-text world. Short video is a killer app. I've been following all these people out there, from movie stars to influencers, are now getting copycat ones or having them say different things. So the whole video warfare on communication is just coming. And my own commentary, let's be really clear. Andreessen's here to promote their portfolio projects, product companies, and not that. So instead of just having a link to their 500 investment, I'd like to have a list in the article of how many companies represented in this article they have investments in. If it's under 50%, I'd be shocked. But the category is important, so important for that reason.
Okay. All right. Important it is. Let's proceed.
The last one comes from Liquid AI, and it talks about LFM 2.5, 1.2 billion parameters thinking model, which is on-device reasoning under 1 gigabyte.
Yes, Karen, what did you think? This is in addition to their portfolio in those announcements. That's the last one in the suite of announcements.
Very exciting model release from Liquid AI. This is interesting because this model can run completely on edge devices, wearables, phones, laptops, and so forth. So what that does is gives a lot more privacy control to the end user. That your own data that the model may be accessing on your edge device is not going across into another model. It's staying local to your device. And I think that's a big leapfrog in both personalization, safety, and security. So this model is really very cool for anybody building edge devices, from watches to glasses to other wearables and the other phone oriented apps. But I would rate this as optional for a business leader. Good to be aware of. If you're in the space, by all means, be aware of this model and its competition. And it's definitely busting some of the evaluation metrics out of the water. So it's a really cool advance, like a great leapfrog that Liquid AI has performed.
Yeah. Yes, they're lacking on getting customers, but this is in terms of technology. We love this. This is MIT based and great technology. Okay, optional from Karen. Ankash?
I was important on this one, Luda. I think this is one of the US models, which is small model and focused on reasoning, right? Then they sort of attribute that it only needs 900 MB space on your phone. So that's really great. They have created their own app called Leap, which you can download on your iPhone and use this model through that. They have now partnered with all the major vendors who support LLM inference. So Olama, Open Router, all of that. They have partnered with them so that it can be used by different vendors. They now have clients as well, Luda. So they partnered with Shopify, I think a few weeks back. They are in talks with various smartphone vendors as well to put this on device now. So I think it's really coming around for them in terms of their set of models as well. We saw that example at CES, where they have partnered with AMD, where they are putting the model on a laptop as well. So I think this will be a very useful addition to their portfolio of models. So for that reason, I was important. Okay.
John?
Yeah, I was between optional and important. Our friends at Liquid, haven't found a speed and feed they don't like. They're always talking about the technical capabilities and, very little of the application. So I could go either way.
Okay. Paul, I was actually optional. I love Liquid. I think they have the model technology is really great. But I mean, we've already talked about this before, so that's why I was optional. Paul?
Yeah, it's triple optional. This is a product announcement. Someone's going to buy these guys. They don't have the distribution.
Apple.
This was moving way too fast.
Yeah, I think Apple should buy them. I think I would.
Yeah. I think any of the big guys might buy them. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if they're a standalone company a year from now, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, optional it is. That's the last one. Paul, we're dying to hear what your takeaways are from Davos. Maybe you can summarize. We have a minute left.
Sure. Yeah, so many takeaways. I'm really forcing myself to get the top 3 or 4, but it really was a unique experience having so many people so close, from Jan LeCun to Andrew Ning and to dozens of others here. Main takeaways: 1, this is moving really, really fast. Everyone can't keep up. 2, I think we're still waves. There's still multiple innovation waves coming. The consensus was that the physical AI robot wave is probably 2 to 3 years out, but it's going to be massive. And Jan LeCun and others talked about all the opportunities in world models that aren't based on text, but biology and chemistry and physics and others. And there's a lot of innovation coming on that. Third major thing was a lot of people, not a lot, probably 5 or 6 of these speakers are asked the number one risk right now, is it AI killing us all the jobs? All of them said the concentration of power in 4 to 5 tech companies. So that's a really becoming thing. And lastly, obviously a lot of news about Trump views on Greenland and stuff, but this whole notion that this sovereign AI is too important not for countries to start understanding what the strategy is. So sovereign AI as an imperative for countries aren't a top 3 or 4 in terms of size is recurring. So unbelievable conference. I'm going to type up my notes later today and get them out, but super excited. And we were well represented as a company.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for being there. Today we had 1 essential, or 2 essentials, 1 important, and the rest were optionals. So thank you all for listening, participating. Karen, thanks for joining. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Hey.